Om Mahaganapataye Namaha. In this video, I'm going to talk about secrets of yantras. What yantras are, what they do, why you want to get and use a yantra, and how it can enhance your practice of working with mantras and also with archetypes. So, yantras. Yantras are, here's an example of a yantra. This is a Shreem Brzee yantra that Dr. Pillai revealed, which you can find on Pillai Center. I'll put a link in the description. There may be some delays from India because of the lockdown right now. But a yantra is also called as a machine. Yantra also means machine. They are devices or technology, just like you have a refrigerator or a computer as a machine. I like to think of yantras like circuit boards in that regard, where machines or computer circuit boards, they take information, they process electricity to produce a certain result. Yantras are very similar like this, where the concept of yantras is once they're energized properly, they will emit or radiate the energy of a mantra or an archetype on a 24/7 basis once they are turned on, as Dr. Pillai says. They act like a machine for that particular mantra or the archetype. Now, yantras, what they are doing here is Dr. Black calls them landing pads for the archetypes, where even more powerful than statues are yantras because they're even more precise. Now, this yantra is using symbols. Now, there are also some yantras like the yantra behind me, if you can see it, using geometric diagrams. It's a very, very precise way. So if you look at the study of cymatics, you'll see that sound waves, when they are put on using material like sand or other water in some cases, certain frequencies of sound will automatically arrange the particles into a geometric form. And so these different mantras have geometric forms. Let me give you one more example here. This is the Shreem Brzee water crystal. I explained a little bit in the on a past video, a recent video. This is the geometry created by Shreem Brzee, and there's also a yantra that looks very similar to this. That's different than this yantra, that has the same six-pointed star geometry. So yantras are extremely powerful, and the Siddhas talk about that if you want to successfully contact a being, a divine being, or an archetype, you want to be using a yantra. Now I'm going to be sharing some techniques to use a yantra in this video. Now, in general, what you need to understand about yantras is there is a subtle electricity, a subtle electricity, a soul electricity, if you will, or a spiritual electricity. It just means a subtle electricity. When you tune your body, you will be able to feel this electricity in your hands, particularly. You can also feel it on your forehead, and I'll go through some ways you can use the yantra as well. But in general, I can give my personal testimony to being able to actually feel a very subtle vibration or subtle electricity that goes into your body. Now, the great thing about yantras for those people who are working with mantras is these give you a device that you can grow, store, and access the power of the mantra that you are working with. Grow, store, and access the power readily of the mantra you are working with. So wouldn't it be nice for all those mantra chants that you do, if you can somehow capture them and then access that energy on a continuous basis or at will by having the yantra in your aura in ways that I will talk about in a little bit. So you want to use a yantra to complement or combine with your mantra chanting practice. Now, the way that you use a yantra that Dr. Pillai has given is, here's the yantra here, and this would be considered the face of the yantra, which is the side with the symbols. Here's the back of the yantra, which is smooth. You want to take the smooth hand. Now, you can do this with both hands. This is the way that he recommends. You can do it either side. You take the smooth side and you put it on the palm of your left hand. You put your palm of your right hand on top of the yantra, and then you can just feel the palms and put your attention on the palms and feel a subtle electricity going in through the palms of your hands, which there are chakras on the palms of your hands. This is why you see a lot of saints and gurus doing blessings like this. There are chakras here on the palms and also the fingers. And when you're doing this, you're allowing that energy to go into these chakras and into your brain in particular, and as well as the rest of your body. So you just close your eyes, you feel the palms, you feel the electricity, and then now you can start chanting, you can start meditating, or however you want to use. So you want to pair the mantra with the yantra that you're working, or pair the yantra with the mantra you're working with. In the case of Shreem Brzee, there are at least 2 different kinds of Shreem Brzee yantras. Any yantra for Lakshmi will do. I will say that you want to make sure that yantra is energized properly and that you don't get it from a source that is not reputable or maybe authentic. I have read cases from the Chief of Siddhas, Agastya, where a gentleman came to Agastya and he was having all kinds of problems. And he had yantras in his house, and the problem was, I forget exactly what he was suffering, but it was problems with the relationship. I think there was money, it might have been health, there was a bunch of things going on, and it turned out what the problem was is this guy had improperly created yantras in his house. So his wife ended up getting rid of them, and this guy was convinced. He wasn't fully convinced yet. So he went to this tantric, and this tantric promised him, no, don't worry what Agastya said. I'll do this grand elaborate ritual. I'll create this elaborate yantra for you. And this guy created did this big huge ceremony, created this huge yantra, gave the guy yantra. This guy started having the problems, big problems. And it wasn't until they got rid of the yantra that the problems were removed. So the moral of the story is, make sure you get your yantra from a proper source. And I would also caution and remind that you want to be very, very careful with working with the intense deities, intense yantras, the very, very fierce forms of the god or goddesses. And I would say that don't work with those beings unless you are given that sadhana directly from a guru who is a qualified guru to be giving that sadhana. They can also cause problems as well. So, working with this yantra. So when you're doing this, this technique I just gave from Dr. Pillai, is not only are you accessing the power, but it's also growing the power of the yantra. So the more that you do this, the more that the power of this yantra grows. And what you want to do is keep this yantra in your environment. Some other ways to make this yantra very powerful is through abhishekam. Abhishekam is an alchemical technology to also increase the life force energy, protect the life force energy, and activate or make alive a murti, which is a statue, or a yantra. One thing that I like to use, I'll put a link in the description where you can find this stuff. This stuff is highly recommended. It's rose water, and they do something where, what is the word they use? Vormag, some sort of vortex magnetized to help raise energy. I don't know if you're familiar with the reader Edgar Cayce. He was also known as the sleeping prophet. He gave a lot of profound predictions, and he is the one who actually recommended this particular water. I personally, when I spray this water on me, I feel immediately lifted. It has a fantastic smell, and what you can do, it's very, very clean. What I like to do is I'll spray it on my murtis especially if I'm in a hurry, or just as a daily practice. It's very quick and clean as one thing to do. Now, to take this to the next level is, depending on the archetype you're working with, or the mantra you're working with, or the yantra you're working with, if it's Shreem Brzee, what will be very, very powerful to do is look for power times related to that yantra, and then use those power times. There's an app you can get for your phone. I'll also put a link in the description of this video, which is Aura Watch. Aura Watch app will tell you when the hours change, and the hours there are 7 different auras of every day. They correspond to the 7 different days of the week. Every day of the week is ruled by a planet, and every hour of the day that is not exactly lined up with 10 a.m., 9 a.m. They're a little bit different. They're not always an hour long. Are also ruled by a certain planet. So for Shreem Brzee, you want to look for Venus times. During Venus times, give the yantra a spritz. Spend a few seconds holding on to it the way that I showed you. You can also use water, milk, and orange juice, or just water, milk, or just orange juice. But water, milk, and orange juice are 3 alchemy products that you can use to energize and also protect the yantra. I won't share all the things because I don't believe I have permission to share all of it. A lot of this stuff is revealed in exclusive programs from Dr. Pillai, so I'm very cautious about what I say because he's always mentioned that whatever you receive in those programs, you are to keep to yourself. I will say briefly that if you want to know more, Siddha Amara Kavi Siddheshwara, this book that I've been recommending, he reveals some secrets about the different ingredients of the abhishekam and also other materials of why you're pouring them over the murtis. A highly profound book. I will also put a link to the description. Again, if you have trouble finding it from Pillai Center, you can go on Google and look for it on other places. Because of the whole lockdown, it's been difficult to get things from India. But I encourage you to look it out. Look for it. It's called Secrets Behind Divine Worship. Prabodharan Sukumar is the author who compiled this information on behalf of the Siddha, and the information comes from this Siddha here, who Dr. Pillai wrote the preface of this book, and talks about this Siddha got all this information directly from God. So I highly recommend it. So in summary, if you're working with a mantra and you want to go to the next level, go and find a yantra. And I want to recommend, I will give a link in this description where you can find quality yantras that I recommend that I know are authentic and work. These are going to be coming from PillaiCenter.com and also astraved.com. They have a huge selection of yantras that you can find, particularly if you're looking for Shreem Brzee yantras. The only place in the entire world that you can get those yantras authentically are going to be Pillai Center or Astraved. Nobody else at this time has the authority to make those particular yantras. They are copyrighted, if you will, from Dr. Pillai. So get the yantra, use it with your practice. It's a machine. It will be emitting the, once it's energized by Astraved Pillai Center, it will be emitting the power of the yantra, of the sounds that is energized with 24/7. So you want to keep it in your environment. Make sure to do water on it at least once a day. You have the rose water option, you have water, you have milk option as well. You can also do turmeric water, you can do vibhuti water. These are other ingredients that I recommend as well. They each have their own benefits. Keep it clean. And the best time to do these alchemy or this water process, or abhishekam as it's called, or hydration as Dr. Pillai calls, is during their times. So if it's Shreem Brzee, you're looking at Venus Aura or Fridays. Also Anuradha Nakshatra days. Anuradha is a star that Lakshmi was born under. And also, coincidentally, Vishwamitra, the discoverer of Brzee, the Rishi who brought us Brzee, was born under Anuradha star days. If you're looking at Ganapati, that's Sunday, and so on and so forth. If you have any questions, I can provide. Leave a comment in this video if you have any questions about archetypes, about their times. I can help give some guidance on that and set you on the right path. So remember that. And also, another tip, a pro tip about the yantras is the direction that they're facing. Each direction has a certain energy that it emits. So we're constantly being given these directions. So right now I'm facing the east-northeast direction, which Dr. Pillai has shared in a past video, which I also put a link to in the description of this video, that the power of east and northeast is that of prosperity, and particularly is very conducive to Shreem Brzee. So in general, they recommend using your yantras and allowing them to face north or northeast, so they're going to be getting that energy and then reflecting it out as well. So that's another tip you can use. So do the abhishekam. Keep the yantra in your environment. You can keep it in your pocket as well. You may want to put it in a little cloth baggie or wrap it in some cloth. Just as a, because remember, these yantras, although they appear to be just little pieces of metal, these are alive. These are actual beings are living on these yantras. So you want to treat them accordingly. Treat them as alive. So don't toss them around. Don't take them in the bathroom when you're going to the bathroom, for example. You know, you want to try to avoid swearing with them as well. You can put offerings. One thing Dr. Pillai recommends is every day put a little M&M or put a little piece of sugar in front of the yantra. He recommends M&Ms. I use candy bars. You can also use, depending on what the archetype is, they have different offerings. You can use fruit, whether that's fresh fruit. You can use dried fruit. Put a little thing in that. You can show it some incense and also show it some light from a candle or a lamp, like such as ghee or oil. this would be good to do daily, and if you can do it twice a day is good, once in the morning, once in the evening. Particularly during their times is the most powerful, because that's when the natural intelligence or that energy is active. So don't make it complicated though. Just develop a relationship with it, use it to chant your mantras with, grow and store that energy, and keep it around you all the time so you can help access the power. I covered a lot, but if you have any questions, please, or any comments or feedback, or any requests for future videos or information, I would love to hear from you. Please leave a comment underneath this video. Also, make sure to check out the description. You may have to click Show More to find the references that I mentioned in this video and where you can get those links. If you found this video helpful or valuable in any way, please click the like button, and also feel free to share it with others who you think would find it valuable too. And as always, if you'd like to be notified for future videos, make sure to click subscribe and the bell notification. God bless.